If you're looking to make a move to Southern Utah and you're wondering which town you should live in, well, in today's video, we're gonna go over everything you might wanna know about Hurricane, Utah. It is spelled hurricane, but we actually say hurricane in Southern Utah, so if you don't wanna feel like a visitor or a tourist when you are coming through, make sure you pronounce it as hurricane. Now, you might be a little familiar with Hurricane, Utah if you have passed through on your way to Zion National Park, or maybe you're a Matt's Off-Road Recovery fan, or maybe you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. Those seem to be the main reasons why people know of Hurricane, Utah. In today's video, we'll take a look at location, scenery, climate, cost of living as it applies to housing, and then we'll break down some of the pros and cons of living in Hurricane to see if this is the right place for you. All right, before we go any further, my name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group. If you are looking to make a move to Southern Utah, I would love to help you out with that. You can find my information up here in the corner or down below in the description. Please don't hesitate to call, text, or email. I promise you I will respond. All right, let's get to know Hurricane. Now, Hurricane is located in the southwest corner of the state of Utah. It is actually about 20 to 25 minutes northwest of St. George, Utah, which you have probably already heard of. You'll take the I-15 north out of St. George and then take Utah 9 down into Hurricane. Now, Hurricane, of course, because it is in southern Utah, is a desert, but it's more of a red desert. It is surrounded by a lot of mesas. You can see the red rocks in the distance, as well as some beautiful southern Utah mountains. As far as what kind of weather you can expect here, it is very similar to St. George as well as Las Vegas. It doesn't quite get as hot as those two. The average high in the summer is going to be around 100 degrees. It can go higher than that. That is an average. And then the average low in the summer is right around 67 degrees. Again, that is the average. It can go higher or lower. In the wintertime, the coldest month, you're gonna see a high of about 53 degrees and then a low of around 27 degrees. Again, averages. Now, Hurricane is in a desert, so we only get about 12 inches of rain here a year on average and very little snowfall. We will get snowfall. Actually, on January 11th of this year, we're in 2024, Hurricane saw snow. You will see some snow in some of these images that I grabbed for you. It is currently wintertime here, so it isn't quite as green as you would typically expect. I will run another video for you in the summertime so you can see how beautiful and green it gets here in Hurricane, but I wanted you to see what it looks like in the wintertime. You can see that it will get a little bit of snow, but really not much, maybe 2.5 inches a year. It is more in the southern part of the state, so that's not really typical. And then as far as daylight hours that you can expect, in the summertime, we have about 14.5 hours of sunlight, and then in the wintertime, the shortest day is about 9.5 hours of daylight. Now, one thing I do want to note about Hurricane and its weather and climate is it can get kind of a wind tunnel through here in certain parts of the day. It's not all the time, but it does happen through here, so that's something that I wanted to make sure that you knew before making a move here. I would say my favorite months of the year living in Hurricane is going to be March and April or October and November. Those really are perfect months to live here. Now, as far as population goes, Hurricane is a smaller town. It is in very close proximity to St. George. We're only about a 25-minute drive from St. George, and St. George has a much higher population, up over 108,000 people, whereas Hurricane is a smaller town. The population currently in Hurricane, based off of a 2020 census for 2024, is actually around 27,663 people. Now, again, that's an estimate, but it's pretty close to that. As far as the median age goes, we're sitting right around 38.4. Remember, median means half of the people are younger than that and half of the people are older than that. Cost of living in Hurricane is about 5% lower than the national average. However, when it comes to housing is a little bit more expensive here. For example, in the last 6 months, remember this is the beginning of January 2024, so this will change as we go through this, but I'll make sure I'm updating you throughout the year. But in the beginning of January 2024, for the last 6 months, the median sales price in Hurricane is right around $482,000. However, the average sales price of a home here is right around $578,000. I wanted to give you both because the average takes into account the homes on the low end as well as the homes on the high end. For example, we have housing that can range anywhere from $150,000 here all the way up to $4 million. So there is a wide range there. However, the median, meaning again, half is below and half is above, is right around $482,000. Now, the school district here is Washington County School District. Hurricane is in the county of Washington. There are actually 2 elementary schools, 1 intermediate school, 1 middle school, and 1 high school. Now, as far as crime rate goes here, this comes from neighborhoodscout.com. So it takes a look at it compared to other US cities. It has a score of 29, which means that it's 29% safer than than other US neighborhoods. As far as what to really expect of Hurricane, downtown Hurricane is going to be more aged homes. This is where the town first started. You are going to have a lot of stores along State Street. You really can live in Hurricane and have all of the amenities or things that you might need as far as shopping. There's going to be a Walmart, there's going to be an AutoZone, there's a Smith's and a Lynn's. You have access to many stores, so you wouldn't need to leave Hurricane for really anything. However, if you do need to, remember St. George is only a 25-minute drive away. Now within Hurricane, you can get a variety of housing, meaning there is a lot of brand new construction going on in Hurricane, and there is a lot of older homes. The older homes are really going to be more centrally located where Hurricane first began in downtown Hurricane, and that area is a little bit more flat, but as you get further out away from the center part of town, there are a lot of new housing developments going in. So you really have your option of choosing both in here. All right, so now that you know some basic things about Hurricane, I want to go over the pros and cons list so that you can get a better picture of what to expect here, what people love about Hurricane, and what people would probably change about Hurricane. This is coming from people that live around here, chose to live here, and what they found they like and really don't like so much about the town. So let's go through the pros first, and then we will jump into the cons. The first pro is that Hurricane is a small town. Remember, we went over the population. It is not a very large population, so we can consider it a small town. And if you're choosing to live in Hurricane, it's because you enjoy that small town community, which brings me to number 2. The community is very welcoming and very friendly. So this is a great pro of living in Hurricane, Utah, is a friendly community. Number 3 is going to be that the area is beautiful. Although it's a desert, it is surrounded by so many mesas and mountains and canyons, and it really is just a beautiful desert, and the scenery is breathtaking. You have to see it to really appreciate it. Number 4 would be mild winters. We kind of went over the weather a little bit. The summertime is really pretty hot. It can cool off a little bit in the mornings and the evenings, which I can't say about St. George, but that's because of where it is in proximity to the mesas and the canyons. However, in the wintertime, there are very mild winters. You see the average high here is at 53 degrees, which really isn't bad. You can use a light jacket for this. So this is a great pro of Hurricane, is that you have very mild winters. The 5th pro, and these aren't in any particular order because they're all great, but it would be the proximity to so many state and national parks. Within a 30-minute drive, you've got Sand Hollow Reservoir, you've got Quail Creek, you've got Snow Canyon State Park, you've got Coral Pink Sand Dunes, you've got Golub Canyon, Zion National Park, Canara Falls, Tokerville Falls. There really are so many places that you can visit that are within about a 30-minute drive from Hurricane that makes it such a great focal point to live. The 6th thing would be that you do have all of your basic shopping needs to be able to survive within the town. But you can survive in this town with really not going outside of it unless there's some unique thing that you must have. The 7th pro I heard from people is that it's within close proximity to world-class medical care in St. George. Again, that's a 25-minute drive away, but that's really not that far for the great medical care that you can receive down in the St. George hospitals if you need a full-service hospital. Number 8, people love the schools here. It's a really family-oriented school system, great schools, and that's something that people love about living in Hurricane. Number 9, now again, these are things coming from people that live here, is the town is pretty patriotic. If that's what you're looking for, Hurricane's a pretty patriotic town. And then number 10, again, these aren't in any order, but the outdoor recreation. Of course, that comes with the proximity to so many state and national parks, but the outdoor recreation as far as OHV trails, rock crawling, rock climbing, boating, fishing, you really can do a whole lot here within a short drive, and that is one thing that draws people in here. So if you are an outdoor enthusiast, you will likely love living in Hurricane. All right, that takes care of the pros, but we do need to go over some cons of living in Hurricane, Utah. This is important because no matter where you live, there's always going to be something that you don't like about it, so it's better that you know what you're getting yourself into before choosing to move here. Now, this won't be in any particular order. These are just things people came up with that they don't really love about living in Hurricane. The first one is going to be those hot summers. Remember, we talked about the temperatures in the summer. The good thing about this is it is a desert, so it is a dry heat. If you are coming from somewhere that is more humid and you hit these temperatures, This dry heat, I promise you, is going to feel much better than that. But the hot summers, not amazing. The second thing is going to be the high housing costs. You would think being about 25 minutes from St. George, the housing costs would go down a little bit, but that is a con. It does have higher housing costs, as we discussed before. The third thing would be that you do need to drive into St. George if you want some larger box stores. Maybe a Costco. There is a Costco in St. George. Again, only 25 minutes, but you are having to make a drive out of Hurricane if you want some of those larger box stores. There's also a Best Buy and a mall in St. George, so you will have to drive out of Hurricane to get to those places. That could be a con, that could be a pro. You're likely living in Hurricane because you don't want to be so close to those places. The fourth one, and I bring this up often because if you are moving from a state that doesn't have state taxes, this could be a con. However, if you are moving from a state that has higher state income tax, this could be a pro. For me, I moved from a state that did not have income tax, so it's always a con for me. But there is a state income tax of 4.85% in Utah. So of course, any type of tax is going to be a con. The fifth con people mentioned is it can get flooded with tourists, which can be a little frustrating when you live in the town and the streets get crowded or the restaurants get crowded. That can definitely be a con for you. With that comes con number 6. There are a lot of vacation rentals here. Now, if you're an investor, you probably don't mind that and you are looking for Hurricane to be your next investment place. However, if you are living here, you may not like how many vacation rental properties there are. Of course, vacation rentals do well here, again, because of the proximity to so many state and national parks. Now, this leads me to my next con. Hurricane is growing at a pretty unsustainable rate for the infrastructure that we have. Of course, we are always working to bring that infrastructure up to date and for the crowds that are coming in, but this tends to happen in any small town. As people hear about it and it starts to grow, the infrastructure is always playing catch up. So that can definitely be a con here. And then the last con I wanted to know is sometimes you can smell the sulfur from the Potempe hot springs, which are actually not even able to be accessed anymore, but you can still get that smell from there. So that could be a con. It's not always, but it comes through. Now I feel like I barely touched on Hurricane. We went over a lot, but there is so much still to offer. So I will be doing more videos on Hurricane in the future. If this is something that interests you, make sure to like and subscribe. If you are thinking of making a move to Hurricane, Utah, or really anywhere in southern Utah, I would love to help you out with that. My name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group. You can find my contact information down below in the description. Please don't hesitate to call, text, or email. I promise you I will respond. All right, until next time, have a wonderful day.